cloud native, SD-WAN, analytics, machine learning, agile development and testing, edge computing, DevOps, service management, enterprise architecture, hybrid IT, neural networks, cybersecurity, serverless, low-code, no-code, big data, integration, Intellics, where we bridge modern and legacy technology and untangle the buzzwords to help business and IT leaders connect the dots to achieve digital transformation. Disclaimer: the perspectives expressed in this show are the independent opinions of the hosts and/or guests and do not necessarily reflect the position of Intellics or any companies mentioned here. And now, your hosts, Charles Arajo.
One of the biggest problems with the traditional approach to BI was that it was all about the data, when it should have been all about the story your data was trying to tell. Is it finally time to change that? And will doing so transform how you and your organization leverage BI in the first place? LSB, this is a juicy topic, maybe one of the juiciest of this entire series, because there's just so much here. In fact, I actually wrote, you probably don't know this, I actually wrote an entire book on this topic and on how organizations need to use metrics and data to actually govern themselves, and about how the real purpose is to tell a story that leads to decisions. But sadly, as you know, that hasn't always been what's happened in organizations. So, why do you think that is? What are the biggest challenges that have stopped organizations from getting the most out of their data?
I think it's the way data has to be consumed. Today, self-service BI applications have changed a lot of things in terms of how quickly you can analyze data, how quickly you can get to insights and all the visuals and all the what-if analysis and all those kind of super cool things that you can do with data. However, it's mostly the data analyst or the line of business user who is actually accessing the data. The decision makers themselves, if they want to consume this data, it's in the form of a presentation that has a nice looking dashboard or chart that is exported into a static image, and that's put in those presentations, right? How exciting can that be, working with static images and so on? So I think that's been a kind of a hard part where, how do you kind of tell the story to the consumers who absolutely need this data point?
So wait a minute, I just want to make sure you're saying that executives never use those logins that we always gave them for the BI platforms to go and access the data themselves?
Oh yeah, of course they did, right? And you know it. You ran IT right, for such a long time, Charlie. You know it.
Exactly. All right, but in all seriousness, what about visualization tools, right? I mean, those were, you mentioned, we started this march to self-service 10 to 15 years ago, and visualization tools were a part of that. And those certainly converted static data into interactive dashboards and such, right?
It did, but only for a specific set of users who were comfortable logging into a BI platform and understand the nitty-gritties and the nuances of working with a new tool and get to the insights. It did not really make it pluggable in any other way. For example, the canvas that is best understood by most of the people out there in the tech industry, or any industry for that matter, is a presentation and a regular looking website where you actually have all these reports and dashboards shown up. That's not what is happening. You just create more users, have them to log into new applications to get to insights. Now that's by itself kind of creates a resistance.
So I take it you're suggesting there's another way to do this.
Absolutely. If you're not going to come to the data, take the data to them, right? It's pretty as simple as that. And there's so many ways we have been doing this, right? All along the way, execs, for example, used to consume all these visualizations was through an email, and it's a PDF report. Well, yes, nice looking visualization, they get to the data points that they want to, but it's still not interactive. It's still not live. They're looking at exported images. And same thing with other parts of other line of business users who just have to access boring reports to get to that. So what if you can actually change that conversation? What if you can actually change the way you tell the story? So I said, what if we can change that? Now, what I'm talking about is what if you can actually have these nice looking charts and reports embedded into a presentation? And that's a canvas that just about everybody on the planet understands. You give them a presentation that allows them to that has all the reports and visualizations embedded, and that's just not static. It's interactive. You can drill down, you can apply the filters, change the visualizations as you go, even as you consume the presentation. Or what if I can actually create a nice looking website, right? A dynamic website with all the visualizations, dashboards, the same thing, and also embed elements. Like, for example, I could be a data analyst. I can record a story. I can basically have a nice narrative around what's happening with the data and embed that video along with this particular reports and dashboards and organize them into a website and give them a URL to access. Just make it as simple as that, right? Today, you have all the no code, low code tools to create websites, website builders, and so on. So what if you can use that capability and assemble data in a way it can be consumed seamlessly and more easily just about by anybody? It need not necessarily be exec. It need not only be a data analyst. It can be just about anybody in business. Give them access to
just
a
getting it,
presentation.
making that data accessible and out there
Absolutely.
everywhere. So I get that that's a totally sort of different approach to it. Is there anything else on the horizon when we talk about this sort of evolution of moving from data to stories?
This is more about making it more consumable, and even there, even within that context. So while you're making all these reports and data consumable, using AI and augmented capabilities can be interesting. So, for example, natural language generation is a big deal. So someone who doesn't understand reports and dashboards in a very straightforward way, you can have a narration, tell them, highlight some of those inferences or detect anomalies and highlight them in let's say plain English. So when they access a report, they can say, hey, the ROI on your Google ads went down by 30% in comparison to the previous quarter. So the system can automatically analyze vast set of data, create not just visualization, can actually narrate what's happening to your data. So it's the data speaking back to you. So that's the idea, and that's where the needle is moving towards.